Internet, and welcome to another episode of My Cool Friends. If you are here joining me for the first time, let me say, hello, how are you? There's punch and cookies on your way in through the door, and it's so nice to have you here. We have a very, very special guest with us today. If you are new here to my wonderful circle, don't worry, there's a little button that I can push on the side to have all the fireworks go up, and there will be pillars of fire everywhere. We have what do we have that's new? What do we have that's new? You're supposed to be my agent. What's new? We have merchandise now. There's new merchandise in the store that you can go buy. You can get the t-shirts and the cups and the mugs and all that wonderful stuff. Go send them there. Go send out the tickets. You should be sending out the tickets. Yes, he will take care of that for you. Today, my friends, our special guest, she calls herself the beacon of light off in the distance. She is a grief coach, and she is indeed the host and founder of the Grieving Coach podcast, sharing your story and exploring humanity one heart at a time. And her favorite phrase is, "We are all just walking each other home." Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give a warm hello welcome to Miss Jenny Dilts. It is so nice to have you here. Welcome to my little ensemble that I have going on.
Thank you, and it's so good to be here. I'm so excited.
Awesome. We are going to jump right on into it with our very, very first question. When working with grief, how exactly did you jump into this? How did you jump into working with grief?
People think I'm an oddball because I actually get really excited about grief.
You're in the right corner then.
I love grief. When I introduced myself for my grief training, my coaching program, I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Jenny, and I love death. Your statement. And I could just all of looks. Who are you? Why are you here? But my instructor said, "Oh yeah, you made my collection of funeral flags."
Of funeral flags?
Yes. So funeral flags are in some parts of the U.S. They have like a flag for your car if you're in the funeral procession.
Oh, okay.
He has a collection of funeral flags he's been invited in or facilitated in some way. That's his collection. And when he shared that with us, I knew this was my face. These were my people. But that's not actually the answer to your question. Is a 5-minute meal drop off to a woman whose husband died suddenly turned into 3 hours of grief goodness. And that's how I got into this grief space.
So you went to do like a meal drop off, and it turned like it was supposed to be like this little thing, and it turned into this like almost like this window into your big journey. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what on a physical side, it was like, oh, you were just there for this person. What was it like on an emotional side, being there for this person?
It was honestly, it was just me doing my thing. It was me showing up to help. It wasn't until like a year and a half afterwards that I really started thinking of it and considering, maybe there's something to this. Maybe this is really what to do as a career, as part of my identity, as part of my life calling. Maybe something. So it took some time to marinate a little bit.
That makes sense. And what sort of struggles have you accompanied people through when you've been on this journey?
Oh, there's been so many. One of the first ones is, can anybody even help me? Like, this grief is so hard, so painful, so intense. Is there anything that can there's no hope for me? And so
Mm.
helping people see that no, it's hope for you. You're already doing so many good things, already growing from your experiences. Maybe you just don't recognize it yet.
And how does someone get that mind shift set? How do you walk them through? How do you, in your own words, how do you walk them home from that mindset of there is no hope, this is me? How do you walk them through that to then having that shift of look at all these great things you've done?
So a part of showing them that's possible.
Ah.
That that's the reason why I have the podcast. My Share Story podcast is to showcase examples, real life examples of people who have been in situations like theirs and how they have grown from it, how they have turned those experiences into amazing blessings in their lives. Another way is to help them understand that there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Each of us grieve in our own way.
Ah.
And so when we can understand that there's nothing wrong with me and there's nothing wrong with the way I grieve, then however you do it is right for you. And so that helps them start to think, okay, maybe I am grieving. Maybe I am making progress. Maybe there can be hope for me.
There's no correct way to take your emotional journey.
Exactly.
Well, you mentioned that you're a bit of an oddball because this excites you. What what excites you about about this sort of emotional journey?
There are so many things actually about it. One is seeing the transformation in people, going from absolutely hopeless to hearing that they're now being activists for change. So others
Ooh.
to suffer. Um, how do I help my kids in their grief to owning their own feeling experiences and assign themselves in what they want, what they need, finding their own identity. Um, it's like when my clients and people that I work with say, "Oh, never knew that. That makes so much sense. What you just told me changes everything. It has eternal significance." That is exciting.
I'd love to talk more about what you just spoke about, like the identity. How to, like, because there's so much of that's like, oh, just be yourself, but how do you be yourself, like, and then
Mhm.
like that journey of finding you. How do you assist people in finding their true self?
So the first thing that I do is listen to every time they say should in our sessions. I should be going out more. I should be more social. I should be doing grief this way. I should be over it by now. I should be stronger than I am. And we work on those expectations, those myths, those misconceptions of grief.
What are they
Because
actually saying when they're saying should?
they're saying I'm doing it wrong.
Ooh.
So when we can recognize, the first step is there's no wrong way to grieve.
Right. And why do they feel like they're doing it wrong? Is it like, is it something that they have said? Is it something that like an outer expectation has been put on them? Like, what's creating that feeling?
It could be both.
It could
It
be
could be
both.
outer expectations. It could be misunderstanding grief. Unfortunately, society has not been very grief literate lately or ever. And so there are a lot of misconceptions about grief. Up until recently, even sometimes now, grief is not the topic of conversation. When grief is mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, I hope you feel better. What, dry your tears, and they put it under the rug. Often. Well, that doesn't necessarily help you face your grief and get to know your grief and learn and grow from your grief.
That doesn't help with the emotional journey at all.
Right. No, just stop your emotions. It's okay. Well,
we need time to unpack that.
Exactly. And so that's what we do. We unpack myths, we unpack expectations, we unpack stigmas and shoulds so that they can see, oh, I have a choice here. I have to do it the way everybody else is telling me I need to, or telling me I should. Maybe I can do it what feels good to me. I can do it my own way.
That acknowledgement of, oh, I have a choice. Like that thought on its own is very powerful. Of just, oh, I have a choice in how I choose to feel. Where how I'd love to talk. I'd love to talk more about that. Like, how can we get them to how can we get them to that point of realizing, oh, I don't have to, not just in the case of like this grief journey, but as a whole, as a whole person, how can we get them to that point of, oh, I don't have to, I don't have to meet this expectation, that's whether I'm conscious of it or not. How can we get how do you get people to that point?
First step is awareness, bringing awareness that it's even there.
Awareness.
Because you can't change anything if you're not of it. So you have to be aware of it first. And that comes in, sometimes it'll be, oh, do you realize how many times you should in the session? Or can I stop you for a minute? Is that your idea or is that someone else's idea for you?
Right.
And then once they see it, then they have the power to choose. And it helps them think about it more. Instead of default reaction, it becomes more of an intentional response, an intentional choice. Does that feel good to me? Or does it feel good to me? Which way do I like? And they choose when they want. Choose to continue to listen to expectations. Okay. You want to do that? That's fine. Or they can choose a different path. And they can say, okay, I realize that an expectation, that's not what I want to choose for myself. I'm going to do it this way because that's right for me.
And whether or not they choose to keep listening to the expectations or not, then all of a sudden it has a different weight to it because they have the awareness of the choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you could give a piece of advice to someone that is going through the journey of grieving right now, what would it be?
Um, if if I were to give a general piece of advice to someone
Roswell calling Jenny. Are you still with us? We are wondering if we have your connection. Roswell calling Jenny. Do we have you? Do we have your connection? It seems that we have lost you at this moment on the live. We are not getting your transmission at this moment in time. We are wondering, can you hear us, or are we just talking to ourselves in the vast ether of the internet? Roswell calling Jenny. Can you hear us? Are you
No,
hearing our voice
again!
in the ether of the internet? Jenny, can you hear us?
I have reconnected. Contact has been made.
Jenny, this is home base. Do you have a smooth internet connection, and can you hear us?
Hopefully, it will not be so volatile. I'm watching my bars go up and down. So,
Jenny, would you like us to send a strongly worded letter to Comcast for you?
yes, please. That would be very appreciated.
I was joking. Do you actually have Comcast?
We do. I think so, anyways.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing that we all have in common, and it's that we know how much Comcast sucks. The IRS has a higher approval rating than them. Oh, I love you so much. Well, we were talking about mindset stuff and grieving.
Example of grief. Grief doesn't have to be just from death. Grief can come from anything, even
Okay.
poor internet.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking. I'm gonna pick us up where we left off. So, for all the hilarity, so I asked you, if you could one piece of advice to those who are grieving, what would it be? And you, I guess, replied when no one could hear you, that grief doesn't have to be just from death. Grief can be from anything. Resume.
that was a bonus nugget. So if I only had to pick one, it would be you are exactly where you need to be right now.
Ooh.
And all of your experiences have been perfectly tailored for you so that you can be the best version of yourself.
Ooh, I remember I haven't actually seen this episode. I've just heard of it. But there's an episode of Star Trek where like there's a race of aliens that are like their design is like to take away your pain. And Captain Picard's like, no, I need my pain. It's part of me. It's part of who I am. And that's
Yes.
like that sounds like what we're like talking about and describing here. It's like every single interaction, like every single like journey piece that is like that you've gone through is a building block of who you are, like both the good and the bad.
Absolutely.
Continue. It seems like the look on your face now that you're clear. It looks like you have thoughts.
No, that's like that governs everything that I do, even beyond the grief space.
Mm-hmm.
Is holding that balance of even when life sucks, man, this sucks. And once I'm through with that, I can look back. Oh yeah, I experienced more growth, more learning, more progression from that sucky time in my life than I have in so many of the good times. Because
Right.
that's exactly the lesson that I needed right then.
It was like almost it. it's hard. It's hard to put into like words, but use whatever words you want. Whether you think like a spiritual thing or like just putting yourself in the right place at the right time. There was a movie, like one of my favorite movies I rewatched, Yes Man, where he just said yes to every single opportunity that was placed in front of him, and like almost like magic, like all more things started happening to him because he wasn't just sitting at home like constantly like going to Blockbuster and renting movies to watch all the time. It's like he was out experiencing things because opportunities like were always there for him.
Yeah. It's so true.
I want to wind back now a little bit to our mindset conversation that we had. And it's that I have this conversation a lot of times with individuals on this show, and so I love talking about it and getting everyone's little perspective. And it seems like this conversation fits really well with what you do, and it's that like almost every single person seems to have coding in them. You get your coding when you're like at birth, or not even like from your family, but just like from sometimes the circumstances that you are that are around you. You are a reflection of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. And so if you spend your time with like negative people and 5 people that think that the world sucks, or if you have a job that you're spending those that 5 closest people with and they're all negativity, then your environment is all negative, therefore that will be reflected on you. And so how can you change, like how do you work to change someone's like almost internal coding within them when it's sometimes baked in them from birth?
Again, I think it comes back to the first step is seeing that it's possible to change. Because if it's impossible, why try?
Right.
Why even try? If it's not even possible, why would I put the effort in to doing something that I know I can't do? So that's where it comes back to, no, it is possible. And these are real life examples of people who have done it. So a lot of times in my sessions, in my podcast, in my content, I'll bring in stories from people that I've helped support, people that I've worked with, to share how they've worked through their grief, worked through their painful experiences, changed their mindset, experienced their own growth.
What sort of qualifications have you gotten ever since you had that one sit down with a friend to deliver food? What sort of qualifications have you gotten in order to help people along with their grief?
So I did a workshop with Zen Caregiving Project in San Francisco. Ooh. About mindful caregiving. And that was particularly at the end of life. But in that workshop, we explored personal loss, loss of life, loss of everything that is important to us, and how to sit with people when they experience those losses. Mm-hmm. So that was a very important training. Another one was my coaching certification program through Coaching at End of Life. It's an online 10-month program. And through that, I was certified as a life coach, end of life coach, meaning the death and dying part, and grief coach. And then since I got certified there, I've been taking other grief certification classes through fellow grief workers.
Nice. That's so fantastic. And what sort of things when you took that when you took that course in San Francisco, what sort of like aha moments did you personally have for yourself?
One of the biggest ones was, regardless of how many losses there are, they're always compensated. So
Expand on that.
each loss opened the door to another opportunity, another blessing, another growth, another step
Ah.
of progression.
So one door closes, another one opens.
Hmm.
Ah.
Yeah. It was interesting because um so I really love connection. And in that workshop, I felt that I couldn't be in the room with the participants. I couldn't be in the workshop, in the room where the workshop was going on, because what they were working on was so sensitive to me, and I was doing a lot of interpersonal work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I physically could not be in the room. So I had to step outside. Even stepping outside of the room wasn't enough for me. I had to go outside of the building. But I was supposed to be in the workshop. I was missing out. I wasn't with my people. I wasn't doing what I had gone there to do. I was missing out on all of the information. And it felt kind of like I was dead because I was not there with my participants, or I mean with the fellow participants. And I was sitting down on the street just watching people walk by like their normal daily life. But I was very much removed from everything. It was like I was taking a third person outsider's perspective. All I could do was watch.
And was there like an emotional barrier that was preventing you from going to participate in the room?
There was. Um I believe they were working on like physical touch
Okay.
and how to compassionately give loving touch to others at end of life. Like maybe a foot massage or just touching their hands. For some reason, I was at a place in my life where that was too much stimulation, too much intimacy for me. Even someone touching my hands or me touching someone else's hands. So I couldn't be in the room. And I tried to sit outside of the ring and just be removed a little bit, but still be in the room to be able to pick up at what they were doing. And that was emotionally too much for me. So I went just outside of the room. Again, still too much for me. And like I said, I had to go outside of the building, down one or two flights of stairs to where I was emotionally safe again. And I was just watching, like I said, watching people walk by like nothing had happened. But for me, my whole world had just collapsed
Mm.
because I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I wasn't doing the things that I said I would be doing. I wasn't having that connection
Almost,
with my
almost
people.
almost like a fight or flight response, like something emotionally is happening inside of you and it's uncomfortable and you're deciding whether or not to stay or go and you're like almost caught in the middle.
Hmm. Yeah, and it was too intense to stay.
Mm.
So I had to go. Once I got outside, then my emotions were able to calm down. And I reached out to my support people, my therapist, my family. Nobody was available. My friends, nobody was available. But in that moment, I learned that I can handle it, that I can be my own therapist. I have the tools within me to be able to deal with things like this.
Oh.
So had I not experienced that disconnection, I wouldn't have known, I'm more powerful than I thought I was. I got this. I can do really hard stuff.
Mm-hmm. Everyone experiences it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have done hard things before.
Yes. And guaranteed, hard things will continue to come in your life.
Yep. I loved what you said about like grieving in our own ways. Cause like a couple years ago, we said goodbye to my grandpa. And in that time, I wrote something on Facebook about I'd have to find the exact words, but I wrote something about like energy is like not never destroyed. It is only it is only taken new forms. And that goes hand in hand with what you said about like when one door closes, another one opens. Like if something leaves, then something must come back to take its place within that circle.
Yeah.
There has been something scrolling at the bottom of the screen during our conversation. What is that?
Is that a question for me?
Yes, it is a question for you.
Okay. That is my website. So you can go there to learn about my podcast, Share Your Story, Exploring Humanity One Heart at a Time. You can learn about events that I collaborate with, that I host in collaboration with the nonprofit organization Reimagine. I'll do workshops and other like masterclass type events through them in collaboration with them. You can find a link to subscribe to my email newsletter where I send out periodical tidbits on grief and happenings in my own life and how I've worked through my funky transitions, my losses, my hard times. And you can also find on my website a link to schedule a call with me. If you are struggling with your grief, reach out. I'll give you one tool that you can use today to help you make your grief a little bit easier.
And you also have a program as well that you can find within our description of our video today. Is that true?
Yes. It's an 8-session program, and it's called Converting Grief into Growth. And in this program, I take you from the very first steps. I'm grieving. What do I do? To, oh, I got this. I can do this. And I know who I am doing it. All of my clients who have gone through this program have completed it in 2 months or less. So in 2 months or less, you can take the deepest grief you've ever experienced and turn it into a thing of beauty, of growth, of strength, of motivation to propel you to reach propel you to reach dreams that were unimaginable to you when you first started.
And the first step, ladies and gentlemen, is realizing that it is possible, realizing that there is a first step. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another fantastic episode of My Cool Friends. We go live every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm supposed to have sound effects right now. My buttons are not doing their job. So just imagine sound effects. This is what
That's okay.
this
It
is
goes together with my internet. They're having
this
cahoots
is
with each other.
Yep, the Illuminati is real. Everything is falling apart all at the same time. Her internet's going out. My buttons don't work. Everything is just a catastrophe. We go live at every Friday. You can join us. You can watch us right here where you're seeing us right now. And you can also just listen to us afterwards over on the iTunes. If you don't have a smartphone, then really, how are you watching me right now? I'd like to know. I would very much like to know that. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, go check out Jenny's website. Go check out all of her wonderful things that can be found in the description below. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful holiday and have a safe and happy weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.